Because I know when I was 20, I wasn't thinking about living on purpose. And I don't know for you, maybe you grew up, there's that narrative that when I was a young girl, I had big dreams. I wanted to see the world, do great things. That was not Claudia. When I was 20, what was running through my mind was, the culture says that when you're in your 20s, as a young African girl, you're thinking about, you need to get married. You need to build a family of your own. That was my own dream. I don't know what your own dream was, but that was my own dream. And definitely, it was nothing about my purpose. It was nothing about what am I living for? What am I going to impact the world? That was not it. Today we hear the word purpose, people say it all over the place, it's becoming a buzzword, but that was not me thinking about what is my purpose. And to make matters worse, at 21, I lost my dad. I'm the first of 3 kids. And so at 21, you don't have a dad, you have 2 younger ones at the age of 4 and 2, and you have a mom that is a widow. Maybe here, if you are in the West, you would think, okay, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get a degree, I'm going to work hard, right? And I'll take care of my mom, I'll take care of my siblings. This is us. I'm in Cameroon, in West Africa, precisely in Bamenda. And I'm just still coming out of high school. What do you do? Culture is still telling you, impressing more and more on you that now that you are a first kid to a widow with 2 younger ones, then you should truly get married to somebody who has the money to take care of you and take care of your mom and take care of your younger ones. That culture was pressing hard on me and telling me that that is what I should be living up to. But sometimes that culture of telling us that you need to get married, that's all the culture knows. It's a beautiful culture. It's a beautiful thing to build a family, get married and have kids. But sometimes it takes the place of the very reason of your existence. When the reason for your existence is based on getting married, building a family, the day that that marriage will have a problem, the day that you cannot even find the right person to get married to, the day that the children will not come, especially for our African culture, what will happen to your life? Then your whole life will come crumbling before you. Years after, I'll get married in my 20s actually, and I will discover that marriage does not define your becoming. Your purpose does. Marriage, hear me my African young girls, especially those of you in your 20s. I speak to Agnes, if you can hear me, right there indoor. Marriage does not define your becoming. Your purpose does. And again, her story reminded me of myself because after getting married, I was a stay-at-home mom for close to 7 years. Okay? For close to 7 years. Not because I did not have a dream that I wanted to go to school, but I didn't have the means to go to school. I was married, I had kids, and even when I moved to the US, I still did not have the opportunity to go to school. I still stayed at home for like 2 to 3 years. But I saw something in my husband. He didn't have much, but he had an understanding of what this thing of living on purpose was. He was living a great life, not because he had so much money, but because he had a vision. I saw the joy and the peace and the excitement in his life, and I had none. I thought when I get married, things will all be fine. I thought when I have kids of my own, yes, that family, things will be beautiful. And then I said I wanted to go to school, I wanted to become a nurse. Now I was enrolled, I got admission to read nursing, which is something that every young lady that comes to the US, if you want to do something that will be helpful, right? But I had all of those things, but I began to feel that there was a missing puzzle. something was not adding up. Why are you not happy? You're married, you have kids, you're going to school, you don't have to pay the tuition. What is your problem? I knew something was missing. One day I asked myself, who is Claudia Ngafeeson? And I tell you, Dr. Nicole, I couldn't answer that question for a second. I sat with myself, I was like, wait a minute, why can't I? If somebody should ask me, who is Claudia? What will I tell them? And I could not answer the question, Dr. Stella. Elvis, I could not answer that question. And for those of us watching from all over the world, I want you to ask yourself that question. Who are you? And interestingly, it will take you a minute to answer that question. I have spoken around the US here and even in Africa, and every time I pose that question, people sit with it for a minute, and it takes them a minute to answer that question. And that question was what led me to find my purpose, because I knew that I am not here to occupy space in my husband's house. I'm not here to occupy space in this world and live here without a footprint. I was born with an assignment with my name on it. And I wanted to know that assignment. I wanted to live for something bigger than I. Nothing wrong with you being married, nothing wrong with you being a mom. You can be the best mom in the world, but there is something more to your life that you were created to be and to do. And so when I found that, I began to run with it. And because of that, that is why I'm standing before you, all of you here today, because I found something that I could live for. Marriage became the icing on the cake. It was no longer my cake. I tell every woman, not a bias, that I speak to women, because that is my audience, that marriage is the icing on the cake. Your purpose is your cake. If you do not have a cake, where would the icing go on? So if you have a cake, you can eat the cake without an icing. But if you have an icing, even just icing, you get bored with it. But you can have your cake every day, even if you do not have an icing. So discover your purpose. Find the reason why you are here, so that even when marriage comes, every other thing comes, education, your career, whatever it is, let it be an icing on your cake. Do not eat the icing without having a cake. You need your cake for your icing to set on it. So what is purpose? What is this word that we hear in every day, every corner? Today everybody uses it. What is purpose? Purpose is who you are. Purpose is who you serve. And purpose is the problem you solve. So newsflash, your purpose is not about you. It's about others. It's about serving others. It's about creating solutions to the problems that people do have. It is not just a passion, it is an assignment. Why would I leave Florida, fly out here to LA, spend all of that money and stand here? It's because I have an assignment to the world. When you find purpose, nobody needs to encourage you. You get up every day, you encourage yourself because you know that is what you are living for. It's an assignment that only you can accomplish it. For Oliver to come out here, doesn't have so much, but believes that this is what he's supposed to be doing, that is the power of purpose. It is not just a passion, because you can be passionate today and tomorrow you are not passionate anymore. But when it becomes your assignment, you have to do it. It's just like you're going to school, you have an assignment, you don't have a choice. If you want to pass that test, if you want to pass that class, you have to do your assignment. So we are all here on assignment. Purpose is the bridge between who you are and the impact you were created to make. You can understand who you are. Today we do all the identity tests. You've understood who you are. But it is not just enough understanding who you are, but what is the impact that you are going to create. But when you find purpose and you know who you are, then you can identify your assignment, because it's about others. You have to impact others. is not about you. That brings me to the point where we want to see how we can use our purpose to gain profit. You were created to make an impact, not just to exist and occupy space. Your impact is your profit. Your impact is your profit. There was a time in my life and I thought to myself, when I'm no longer here, we are all, sometimes we're scared to think about that time. But when you find purpose, it's easy. It becomes easy for you to think about when you are no longer here. Because your life does not end when you no longer live here on planet Earth. Your life continues to live on. And so I began to think to myself, when I'm no longer here, what will my children remember me for? What will people remember me for? Would they remember me as Claudia Ngafeeson? Would they remember me as Mrs. Claudia Ngafeeson? Are they going to remember me as Dr. Claudia Ngafeeson? Are they going to remember me as the mom of Triumph, Lamb, and Madison? Are they going to remember me as the wife of Dr. Madison Ngafeeson? That will only remain for a short while. Okay? My kids might grow up and they have a family of their own. My husband will remarry. And so what will become of me if I have not left an impact in the lives of people? And that is what began to make me think that I have to walk this world with intentionality. That when I'm no longer here, my life will still be speaking. We speak of great people who have passed on. We speak of, who is there? Rosa Parks. Because she left something for us to keep talking about her. We talk about Mandela because he did something. He left a footprint upon the world. And we are still talking about it. What will people say about you? What will be the message? What will be your impact when you are no longer here? That will be your eternal profit. We talk about profit and we might think about the cash that you get, or the financial benefit that you get when you leave your purpose. But there's something bigger than having the cash and the financial benefit. There is something, the profit that you make, that your life keeps telling the story. Your life keeps impacting people even when you are no longer here. That is the greatest profit that we can make out of our purpose, when we live it out intentionally. So I came up with this framework. It has the acronym PROFIT. I'm just going to go through it. P, standing for position your purpose. Get clarity of your voice, your message, and your audience. When Oliver was here, he spoke about each speaker, and you could hear their message. They have a message. Dr. Nicole has a message on health. Dr. Stella has a story that we are going to hear today, and from her story, we are going to hear her message. So if you're going to make profit out of your purpose, your message has to be clear. Your voice has to be clear. You need to identify who is your audience, because if you are able to identify that, then it resonates with those people. All of us have a message. We have an audience that is going to listen to us. Not everybody will listen to me. There are people that are going to listen to her, there are people that are going to listen to him, there are people that are going to listen to Oliver. That is their audience. So let you position your purpose, let it have a clear message. Do not be everywhere. You can't speak on everything. You have a particular message. Mine is purpose. If you wake me up in the morning, I could talk to you about your purpose. If I'm going to bed, I say, Claudia, I need to have a conversation with you on purpose, I will get up for that. That is my message, and that is what I live for. Recognize the problem, because people won't pay for purpose, they will pay for solutions. People will pay for the solution that you bring to them. So recognize the problem. What is the problem that I want to solve? My problem I want to solve is helping women come out from that place where they think that they are not enough. Come out from that place where you think that I don't have anything to live for, and let them know that you carry something on the inside of you, which is your purpose. I want you to know it. I want you to discover it, and I want you to walk in it, because that is where your true fulfillment comes. It is not from a man, it's not from your career, it is not from the money that you have in your bank account. It comes from you living on purpose. Own your voice. Stop shrinking what is significant. Own your voice. Your voice is powerful. Your voice carries something that the world needs to hear. So if you have that story, use your voice. Use your voice. I work in healthcare. I've seen people lose their voice. And when somebody loses their, you never know what you have, that you can get up and speak and people can listen to you. It is powerful. That is a tool that you have that you don't need to go to the market to buy. You don't need to pay anybody to get a voice. So use it. There are people, when they lose their voice, they're even trying to tell you how they feel and they are struggling. And they get frustrated when you cannot understand them, or they get frustrated when they cannot tell you what the problem is. I'm a mom of a special needs child. When that's my last son. When he was 4 years old, he was diagnosed with autism. He went from, when he was 2, he had all the baby words, he would sing rhymes and stuff like that. And at 3, he started losing his words. At 4, he started pointing to everything he wanted, could not talk. As a mom, that was very difficult for me. And a young mom at that, living in a country that I don't even know the system. And I'm wondering what happened to my child. And all I could do, as somebody who believes in God, was to pray. I did not even have the insurance to take him to the hospital to get diagnosed. So I sat there and just wondered what would become of my child. The power of a voice. And I would see him struggle, get frustrated, throw all the tantrums because he could not communicate his needs or his feelings. And when he was able to start saying something, it was a joy to the entire family. Today, he's 16. He can tell me, Mommy, I love you. He can tell me, Mommy, it's going to be okay. The power of when a child is able to communicate, use his voice, and the tantrums are gone. He is the most affectionate of all my kids. So when you have your voice, own it, because it's your God-given tool for you to tell your story, for you to use it for your purpose. The F is form a solution. Turn your message into a product or a service. I know all of us here, in some form or fashion, we do coaching, we do mentoring. So form a solution, have a framework, turn it into a service, turn it into a product that you can give out to people. The I, invest in structure. Systems create sustainability. You cannot say, I have a purpose and you just leave it in the air. You need structure. Anything that is going to succeed, you need to put a structure around it. If Dr. Stella keeps telling her story and it's just her telling her story, a day comes she wants to put a structure around it, and she'll be like, okay, I want to create a podcast where I can begin to tell my story. That is a structure. Dr. Nicole already has a structure. She has a Facebook page where she tells people about their health system. I just sneaked into her bag. I saw that she has some books. That is structure. Dr. Elvis, I believe, has a structure where we put in things so that they can last when we are no longer here. And finally, the T, tell your story. Visibility creates opportunity. If you do not open your mouth, nobody will know what you carry. Tell your story. And so that is the framework of profit. And so how did I use this framework? In 2020, after understanding what my purpose was, and I began to tell myself, I said, how can I live out my purpose? My husband and I, we do run a non-governmental organization. It's called Lead Missions International. So we go back to Cameroon every year. We've been doing that for 10 years now, to talk to people about leadership. We do leadership conferences. And so I told him, I said, I really have a passion. I want to reach out to women. And so we created this little section called the Leading Lady Conference. And we did that for a couple of years. And one day, this is me in a coffee shop. And I felt this instinct within me. Claudia, are you going to wait for another conference? Because we do it yearly. Are you going to wait for another conference before you're going to talk to a woman about finding her purpose? I said, what can I do? I said, I go out with ladies every now and then. I will have a coffee break. What are you doing when you sit down with them? And so I came up with this idea. I called it Coffee Plus Purpose. And I picked out 12 ladies, whether you were in my city or out of my city, We'll sit down. If you're on the other side of the world, you have your cup of coffee, I have my cup of coffee, where I am, and we have a video call and we talk on purpose. And that, I did that for a year. And a year went by, I moved from Michigan to Florida. I said, what can I do? How can I switch this thing around? Then I transitioned to Brunch on Purpose. Brunch on Purpose was birthed in 2024. It started again, Oliver was saying, we started with 5 ladies. We sat down at a restaurant because the whole purpose of Brunch on Purpose was a woman is always about every other person, okay? We watch for the family, the husband, the children, our mothers, our fathers, but never anything about us. So I said, you know what? We need to come out from all of our busy schedule, come to a beautiful space, relax, but yet have a conversation on purpose. And so Brunch on Purpose was birthed in 2024, and since then we've been running sessions in Florida. It did not only end in Florida, it went on. I hosted it in Bamenda. I said, I don't have to be in Bamenda. That's what we're talking about. Your voice can travel anywhere. The impact can go anywhere, even if you are not there physically. I called up somebody, I said, can you help me host this? She said, yes. And so we started Brunch on Purpose in Bamenda in Cameroon, where there is war going on, but the women have something to come out every month, look forward to talk on purpose and help them have hope again. It did not end there in Africa. We moved to Pakistan in Asia, where last year we had 50 women, Pakistani women, come into a hall and was able to zoom in and talk to them about finding their purpose and walking it. And we are still moving on. Hopefully this year we can reach Europe. That is what finding your purpose is all about, and walking in it, and it becomes a profit. When I tell you, when I go to bed and listen to all those testimonies from women, that is like food to my soul. That is my profit, to see a woman's life transform, to see a woman rise up from her misery, rise up from a place that there was no longer hope, and think that I have something, I have a voice, I have a message, I have something that I can be living for. That for me is my profit. This year, or last year, I was able to launch my business, first business. If you know Claudia, I'm not a businesswoman, but I was able to launch my first business. It's called Purpose Unleashed Ventures, LLC. So through that business, I'm able to coach and mentor ladies and also speak at conferences. Through that business, I was able to launch a mastermind program for the women in Bamenda. We call it the Purpose Table. It's a 6-month mentoring program, and it has been amazing. This month is going to be our 3rd month of hosting that event, and I'm here in the US, and I'm making an impact in the lives of these women. That is what purpose does for you, and that becomes your profit. So as we wrap up today, I want to conclude by saying that you were created with a unique assignment. I want you to, if you forget anything that I said today, you were created with a unique assignment, one that carries your name. You know, everybody can do anything, but there's one that carries your name on it. Don't just be inspired by the words that will go from this stage today. Be activated. Rise with clarity. Rise with boldness. Rise with the understanding your life is not accidental, and your assignment, it is not optional. Your assignment is not optional. Your purpose is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for your participation. Your profit is your first step on walking in purpose. Your first step, take that first step. Because when you walk in your purpose, you don't just change your life. You change every life that is connected to you. You change every life that is connected to you. So rise into your purpose today.